Now, to give you some examples of these limiting beliefs, and you may recognize some of them, here's a few that I've heard over the years to do with manifesting. Firstly, it can't be that easy. Or, I'm no good at it. Or, I need to take action to make it happen. Or, it's not a manifestation because it's not a miracle. And in fact, that's what I spoke about earlier. And then there's this one. This is quite a good one. It wasn't a manifestation, just a coincidence. Oh, yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. And we are going to deal with this one. We are going to especially deal with this last one later in this webinar. But hopefully you can recognize a few of your own limiting beliefs in there. Yeah, and Nicholas has just said, it works for other people, but not just for me. A very timely comment to make, Nicholas, because my favorite limiting belief of all to do with manifesting is not even on this page. I made a special slide for it. This one. I love spotting this limiting belief. I'm the exception to the law of attraction. It has almost become a hobby of mine to spot this one. It is expressed in so many different ways and rarely as clearly as what I've just written there. But it's always implied, even if it's not stated directly. And the funny thing is that it's always, well, not always, but it's usually stated in a quite humble way. And yet when you think about it, it's the most unhumble thing you could probably say. Because what you're saying is that you accept that there's a universe of law of attraction. But you are the exception to the entire universe. So out of all the gazillions of galaxies, gazillions of stars within those gazillions of galaxies, out of all the gazillions of planets orbiting the gazillions of stars around the gazillions of galaxies, out of all the life forms that probably exist on those gazillions of planets, on gazillions of stars and gazillions of galaxies, perhaps even in gazillions of universes, in maybe gazillions of time periods, I don't know. But out of all of that, out of all of that, all of it, out of all of it, you are the exception to the law of attraction. Right. So I love this limiting belief. I love it so much. No, you're not. You're not. You're not the exception. And you are just saying that because you think you can get away with it. I want to hear one person who says that come up to me and say the next thing, which is this. I'm the exception to the law of gravity. I've never had someone come up to me and say that. And that's because it's very obvious that you're not the exception to the law of gravity. But it's less obvious that you're not the exception to the law of attraction, because law of gravity operates instantly and law of attraction operates instantly, but our perception of what it's done in its operation is not instant. So there's this little bit of leeway, there's this little gap where not a lot seems to be happening. And so rather than accept responsibility for your life, you can blame it. You can kind of push the blame into this gap where it appears law of attraction has not operated. No. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. And that's a dangerous game to play anyway, with that kind of expectation that you are the exception to the law of attraction. Because In fact, just like I've just said, you are setting up an expectation. If you truly believe you are the exception to the law of attraction, the law of attraction is such an incredible law that it will give you evidence that you are the exception. This is one of the hardest things to prove about law of attraction, is that if you want to deny the existence of the law of attraction, you will attract evidence to prove it doesn't exist. And it's remarkable, because attracting evidence to prove something doesn't exist actually proves it does exist, if you think about it. But people don't think that far. The skeptics, you could say, they only think that, oh, I've got all this evidence that it doesn't exist. But you attracted that. They don't want to discuss that bit. But anyway, it's about expectation. You see, all these beliefs I've told you about, they all set up this expectation that the stuff isn't going to work for you. And that's the problem. That is why you don't trust, because you have an expectation that this stuff is not going to work. Law of attraction does what it does, and it gives you evidence that it's not going to work. And so you have even less trust that it's not going to work. You just don't believe it anymore. It's a self-perpetuating, horrible system, you could say, for trying to develop trust. You start off with a limiting belief that causes you not to trust, and the lack of trust brings you more things not to trust. And that's, funnily enough, proving that the law of attraction is working.